Okay, so we have one last talk for this session, which is given by Matija Ogrin. Okay. So he will talk about the Slovenian Biography, as you can see in his title. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm expected to give outline of Slovenian biography, in particularly as to how we have used the text encoding initiative guidelines to encode the data. In a sense, this presentation is a step backwards. We saw previously quite sophisticated tools for presenting linked data and analyzing it. Now we are stepping downwards, in a sense, to the preparation of the digital edition, which is a basis for both browsing and reading and subsequent analytical mechanisms. Well, the Slovenian Biography as a portal integrates the three main Slovenian biographical lexica. They contain thousands of biographical articles in a time span of more or less exactly 100 years. I need to outline the path to how our data has become verified, structured, and enriched so that a web application can capture them and present it in a variety of useful ways, this web application now operates exactly 10 years. In 2013, it started to operate. So this is, of course, the work of a larger team that has been going on continuously since 2007. And I have pointed out here two colleagues who have been in charge of technological processes, but the careful work of the editors behind the scenes also deserve a great deal of credit, of course. The work started with manual correction of the OCR text, followed by semi-automatic extraction of the person data, structured as TEI encoding, which was further manually edited quite extensively, of course. The cycle of automated scripted data retrieval and manual editing, subsequent manual editing, was repeated several times, many times, and the data refined. So, as a result, for each person, we separated two things: a block of structured metadata, so to say, and a block of prose paragraphs, which means the original article. This slide illustrates the process, so how we split the original article. On the right-hand side, we have the original text on Bishop Abraham as a series of paragraphs. I'm sorry that PowerPoint is so unpleasant that it always breaks my LibreOffice presentation, but not always so badly as today. And below is a block of structured metadata about the same personality. So this diagram shows the structure and the results in some way, the structure of the whole portal. On the left side, we see the metadata. The left side represents metadata for about 16,000 persons, and on the right, the biographical articles, about 10,000 articles in the three lexica, which means that we have metadata for more persons than actually appear that more persons than there are biographical articles, but those other personalities, of course, they appear, they are mentioned in the full texts and so on. So this allows us to insert many links between family members, acquaintances, correspondence, and so on. The final web page, therefore, shows at the top metadata about the person, in this case a writer, his variant names, his occupations, the persons associated with him. This is at the top of the page, and only at the bottom of the page, or in the lower part of the page, shows the biographical articles. Over there, the biographical articles, and the reader can choose among them. With the encoding, we have therefore, with the tagging, we have structured the text according to the TEI, Text Encoding Initiative Guidelines. Chapter 13 of the guidelines specifies the use of tags for biographical information. We followed it quite strictly. And the most important decision that we had to take was which biographical traits to tag. We decided to choose those which appeared to be of greatest benefit for the release of the edition and for the user. So the bulk of our person data is encodes what in TEI parlance is called states and traits of a person. In contrast, we have not yet encoded events explicitly, either personal or historical, but this was a deliberate choice. Let's have a quick look at some examples of encoding. How we have dealt with complex names, as we could have done it in a more simple ways, as the example above shows on this slide, but we have rather established firm rules to mark up all names precisely, accurately. Thus we have obtained, in this case, the monastic predicate friar to characterize him as a member of a monastic order. And we also obtained here, encoded here, the friar's birthplace, so Mariva, which is otherwise hidden in his personal name, and so on. So personal names often have variant forms. The first personal name in our list is always canonical, as it appears in official written sources, and it is followed then by other variant forms of the name, including pseudonyms and several other kinds of variant names, clearly encoded here by means of a type attribute, married names, maiden names, pseudonyms, etc., monastic names. Also, an interesting thing which appears is, which comes about, is completely incorrect form of a name. Yes, that happens, it exists, and it needs to be labeled as incorrect, and so on. So there are many things. Well, noble families, noble persons often display a variety of dilemmas as to how to label the individual parts, singular parts of the name, so as to be correct both onomastically and for practical searches, for example, by place. We have produced several typologies which are encoded as taxonomies with subordinate categories. One of these is the typology of kinship relations, which is, against expectations, quite complex. And we also explicitly encoded the kinship relations as a list of relations. Here we see the relation between the composer Benjamin Ipavets and his parents. The source, the passive article is the one where the relation starts, and the active one is the one which is the target. So to conclude, I should not be too long. The TEI encoding ensures that the biographical text can be transformed from a set of implicit data into explicit data, which are suitable for machine processing. Well, in terms of the large breadth of possible semantic analysis, our encoding can be characterized as minimalist. But on the other hand, the obtained encoded data is the foundation of a digital edition of the lexicon that actually works and must be practical, must be usable. And in this sense, this choice was a realistic scenario. The TEI allows us to transfer our data, if necessary, to other applications, such as, for example, TEI Publisher, which simplifies the display of the text considerably because the TEI Publisher implements the TEI publishing model, which is part of the TEI standard proper. In conclusion, text encoding is by no means a trivial routine, but it appears to be, at least in my opinion, the encoding is a structured display of an editor's knowledge. This is how we make our lexicon a widely usable and functional resource. Some statistics: in the last year we have had about 160,000 users, not individual users, but returning users, who have consulted nearly 700,000 documents in 1 year. Statistics show that the 3 most viewed biographies include 2 eminent figures in the field of literature, Prešeren and Trubar, the eminent literary figures, while the 3rd person, Slavko Avsenik, is the author of popular folk music for polka dancing. Well, and this is from this. It is clear we can conclude that Slovenian biography serves very different cultural interests. Thank you.